Welcome back, Renegades. Today we got gameplay with Black Yellow Luffy versus Doflamingo from OP01 in the OP09 meta. So let's get into this. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Share with your friends. If you like the content, they might too. Alright, so here we're going to wait for the opponent to choose their turn order. So Black Yellow Luffy once it gets to 0 life, gets really powerful by being able to bring 2 5-drops back from their trash to their life, and then we utilize the little versions of the Sabo and Luffy to deploy them to the field, giving our leader 2,000 power boosts for the rotation. So the opponent chooses to go first. So they're going to play out a Perona here. Placing cards on top of the deck. So we got a Monkey D. Garp. We got a 5-drop Sabo, a 5-drop Luffy, the 2,000 power boost one, a 4-drop Kuzan, and a 1-drop Charlotte Flampy 2K. So they just place the cards on top of the deck, and then they end the turn, passing it over to us. So we draw a little Sabo here. We're going to deploy the Garp, see what we can find. We already have a little Sabo, so we're going to pick up, we're going to probably pick up another 5-drop Sabo here. So we can deploy the Flampy here, just to give us, get our life down and draw another card. So we did draw into another Sabo and got another 2K to hand, so passing it back to the opponent. Doflamingo likes to spam the board. They curve out pretty low, around 4. Some lists run like a 6-drop Jozu, but for the most part, they curve out at 4, so they're able to utilize their Dawn in the mid to late game to kind of compete into the Doffy's power boost. So we're going to take that first hit. They use leader effect, get an Edward Weeble to play. So we're going to deploy out our Kuzan, drawing into a Gecko. And we're just going to chip back into 5. So we did get a Rygo. We got another Garp in hand. So the opponent takes that hit, we'll just pass it back to him. We only got one 2K in hand, a couple 1Ks, so. And we do got little Savos and big Savos. So opponent's going to put 2 on their leader, use leader effect, deploying a Mihawk. We're going to take that hit, and now they're going to go 8 into 5 here. We take this. We're at 0 life already. Pretty dangerous right now because we're only at 6. So we're going to trash the Sabo and the other Sabo. And then we're going to add both the Sabos to life. And then we're going to deploy out little Sabos here. This is going to give our leader a power boost. This is like one of the first games I did with the Black Yellow Luffy on the sim, so I'm trying to get used to where the controls are. We're going to draw 2, trash 2 here. So spinning what we want to trash. I'm going to trash a Luffy and another Kuzan. And then we're going to deploy out the Sabo blocker again. Drawing 2, trashing 2. So now our leader got 4,000 power for the rotation. And we did establish 2 blockers on the field. So we're going to pressure 11 into the Weeble here. And then we're going to try to pressure into the Mihawk. Giving it -4 just because we can. So I'm going to give it a 1K, protect it. We just pass it over. So on the opponent's turn, our Luffy is a 9K leader for this rotation. They just deployed the Gravity Blade, putting both of our Savos to the bottom of the deck. That was kind of rough, but that is a risk of going early. Comboing out early. So if their leader swing 5 into our Kuzan here. Depending if we want to give it a counter. We're going to save it for the swing, and now the Mihawk can come in. We're going to give it another 1K, just to keep another body on field. So we're at 8 now. Don't really have much we can do. I mean, we could deploy out the Gecko if we want to, but... So we're going to deploy out Rocket Luffy here, using its effect to get rid of the Mihawk, drawing in another card. And then we're going to deploy out a blocker, the Nami here. We're going to go 5 and a 5. We're in a really tough spot right now. That Gravity Blade really messed us up with the putting both the Sabo blockers. Because we thought we were sitting pretty good. But that's just the thing with Doffy. That's why it's one of the top decks in the meta. So we're going to chip another 5 in. They countered out of both those hits. We'll just pass it back. We do have a blocker in hand, but we don't have a lot of counter. We have 4k worth of counter in hand. No life. We're in a bad spot. Yeah, that Gravity Blade, man, that messed us up pretty good. So they did Jozu and the Law returning their Perona and our blocker. So they're going to go 9 in. We got lucky to be able to counter out of this. So we're at 10 Dawn here. We're going to use Leader Effect, at least try to regain some life. But first we're going to go 5 in with our Kuzan, giving their Law -4. They take that hit. We're going to use Leader Effect here. We got to trash a card. We're going to trash the no counter Kuzan. We're going to put both Luffys into life. Then we're going to deploy Gecko. We're going to get a Luffy. And we don't have another Luffy in there, so we're going to deploy out a Garp. Trying to see if we can find another one. So we were able to get a little Luffy from the Garp search. Gonna bring out the Rocket Luffy. Gonna trash that. Get rid of the Jozu and draw into another Luffy. So now we are a 9k leader. We'll be a 7k on the opponent's turn. Passing it back over to the opponent. We're still in danger here. We only have 2k worth of counter. We are a 7k leader. Yeah, that Gravity Blade. Whew, that was rough. So without the Gravity Blade, we've been sitting pretty good with double Sabos. Especially with the Gecko, who have been able to start looping that in. So they're going to go 5 into our Kuzan here. Depending if we want to save it, or if we want to try, if we want to counter or let it go. We're going to counter here. Because now they can't go for game this turn. They're going to go 7. They're going to get this one. And I think maybe the opponent should have went for game. Let it pressure for at least life this for both their swings. Divided up their Dawn and went in. I mean, they don't know what we have, so to them we could have had a ton of 2Ks. Opponent deciding what they want to do with their remaining Dawn. They have 7 Dawn remaining. Another Gravity Blade is kind of not very good for them because they'll just get like the Garp and the Flampy. So they're going to play out Sengoku, and they get a Boa, which is their blocker. They're going to play out the Boa, placing cards on top of the deck, and then giving probably their leader Arrested Dawn because that's part of the ability. And they still got 2 open Dawn. Okay. They're going to pass it back, leaving 2 open Dawn. So we do have 2. We have a Gecko, and we also have 2 baby Loopies. So we're going to go 2 with our Garp into their buggy here. Because if we decided to play Gecko, we're going to have to remove one of our characters anyways, so we will figure get some use out of the Garp. Waiting on the opponent, see if they want to block or if they want to give us a counter to save it. They're going to give us a 1k counter to save it, which is fine. So now we're going to pressure 9 with the Gecko into their Law. See if they want to give up. They're going to give us the blocker here, which is fine. So we're going to deploy out the Gecko. This time we're going to deploy the Nami active. And then Little Luffy. Little Luffy will be able to trash that to bring out Big Luffy, giving our leader 2k for the rotation. So we have 2 open Dawn here. We're going to have to put that on the leader. See if we can bring anything back. I got to trash a card here. We're going to be able to bring out double Luffy back to life. Kind of give us a little bit of protection. And now we're at a 9k. We're going to just pressure into their Law. Main thing against Doffy is you want to keep their board semi-manageable. Because they're very good at spamming the board. So we're just going to pass turn. Our leader is a 7k for the rotation, so. And we only got 2 1ks in hand. We do have a blocker with the Nami. So they're going to play out their Law, putting our Nami blocker back in hand. They're going to dawn up a lot, 11 into 7 here, which we're going to have to take. So that Luffy will go to the bottom of our deck. We still have Rocket Luffy. And we did draw into another Little Sabo. So we're going to play Rocket Luffy here, using its effect to bring out our Little Luffy, bring out Rocket Luffy to get rid of the Law. So now we're a 7k, we're going to be 9 for this swing. We're going to be able to put in a Sabo that we drew and Rocket Luffy. We can deploy Little Luffy, get Rocket Luffy back. And we're going to deploy out Little Sabo for the Flampy, doing the same thing. Trashing, drawing 2, trashing 2. And now we are going to have a 11k leader on rotation. We're going to use the Luffy effect to give it 2,000 boost. And we're going to put some additional Dawn on that. Go 10 into 5 here. They'll need to use quite a bit of cards to counter out of that. Then we have 2 9k swings. 9 into 5 here. They're going to counter out of this one. Then we got another 9. And then we have 11, 12, 13k swing with our leader. So they didn't have quite enough to counter out. So they had to take that last hit, and then opponent scoops it up. So yeah, that Gravity Blade early in the match really kind of set us back, but we were able to be defensive enough. Cards fell in place. Like I said, Black Yellow Luffy, Seems to always find a way to get the pieces you need. Um, but yeah, this was a pretty good showing against for Black Yellow Luffy against Doflamingo. Opponent just seemed to run out of counter in hand. We were able to chain there at the end with our Sabo Rocket Luffy's being able to remove their Doflamingo's characters without any assistance because most of their characters are 4 cost or less, so Rocket Luffy's really good into this matchup. The Sabos are okay. Geckos are really good because most of their characters are like 5k, a couple of them are 6k, so they're going to have to use quite a bit of counter to get out of the top end. And they're going to have to use a lot of Dawn to pressure our leader once we start comboing off. But yeah, this was OP09 meta gameplay, so make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.